My name is Gino, and this sweet lady waving over here is a very special presence in our world. Everybody say hello to Susan!
Woo! Hi!
Susan, what's our song today?
Okay. Oh, now I blinked on the title, but we were just singing it. It's called The Sun in the Morning and the Moon at Night.
All right, let's do it. Okay.
Got no diamonds,
got no pearls. Still I think I'm a lucky girl. I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. The sun in the morning and the moon at night.
Oh, I got chills. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That is your song of the week. Recognizing that we have the entire universe here available and welcoming us every day. The sun in the morning, the sun in the morning, and the moon at night. Ah, that's awesome. Welcome to the show, Susan.
Thank you. I'm excited.
She's done so many things. I had to go and I was like, wow, I got to go read all the stuff.
And it's not over yet.
It's nowhere near over. So you have really done what I call reinvented yourself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't even tell you how many times. I'm tired.
The first time I met you, you were becoming a minister.
Yeah. Who knew? Really, I don't know. Everybody, that's not something on my life path, you know, when you're thinking what you want to be when you grow up, that wasn't on my list. And it shocked me.
Really?
It shocked me. I was like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no, I'm not. And then, of course, the universe, God kept going, yes, you are. Yes, you are. I was like, oh, no. So, but I've had a lot of those things. Yeah, you know, I'm a Scorpio. And I'm a Scorpio. And
so this is your birthday month.
Yeah.
Now.
But the Scorpios, their big thing is being a phoenix. Oh. So there is I can't even tell you how many times in this lifetime. There's like always a reconstruction, deconstruction, burning up, a fiery exit, and then there is this big better than before rebirth, if you want to say it.
Yeah.
And that's really what I've been doing. It's like reinventing, repurposing, reinventing.
I think that's awesome. It's really awesome. I know that you have, you do different retreats.
Whenever I need help, I gather a circle of women.
Okay.
And so I've had numerous support groups throughout my life because I've needed so much support.
We all do.
Oh my God. So, and each one became an even more dedicated piece of my spiritual journey. So the next thing I want to do is retreats for women, coming out of these circles and then expanding these circles so that, you know, I don't know about you, but every time I've gone on a retreat, unless there is a tight group that continues, whatever I learn kind of goes by the wayside. I think everybody needs, extra support after that.
Yeah, I think that's really cool because I think it depends on what your level of practice is as well. Mm-hmm. You know,
you're talking about spiritual practice.
Spiritual practice that you have the beautiful moments in retreat, and then it's kind of like it just dwindles away, that energy, that fire, because you don't have a
cohesive community.
I love that. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so that's part of the intention, but currently I'm building to that. Okay. And how I'm doing that is I've got blogs. I started podcasting again. Because I had a positive talk radio show, which you were on.
Yes.
Yes, you were, called Living Your Inspired Life. And what we're doing is repurposing those radio shows along with the podcasting that's now happening. And the show is
Chats with Susan Burrell. I love the name. Chats.
Because I gotta own it. I just love talking to people. And my favorite part is having one-on-one conversations like we have, you know? So I learned so much about you, about myself. So when I was young, I was really sheltered in some ways. And so when I went into theater, I learned so much about all these other people that I didn't know, you know, and gay people and lesbians and people that had political different agendas than mine. And the conversations we would have, I wasn't having a conversation to challenge them and say, you got to think like I think.
Right.
I was having the conversation to go, well, tell me why you think like that. I want to learn. And it constantly grew my perception of the world, my perception of self, by asking questions, by interacting with people that didn't come from my life path or looked different.
Isn't that great?
Chose differently, right? So, yeah, I'm really about growth, internal growth.
I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
this is what I think life is about us evolving.
Yeah.
To stay the same, there would be no life.
And a lot of people think that that's life.
There would be
Staying
no
the same.
life. There would be no life.
Oh, man.
I mean, every day is literally different. We may not see it, but when we go from spring into fall, you're not aware of when the leaves start to turn or when they fall off. And then here comes spring and there's new buds. Mm-hmm. And so you have been a new bud in your life.
Yeah.
Becoming a minister.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, I think I was there.
Yeah.
Oh
my God, you were. You were singing your buns off.
Becoming a minister.
Yeah.
Now, has your walk in ministry been to have a church or?
I was really called before I graduated. I was visioning on what's mine to do. How am I supposed to show up? Mm-hmm. And it's so funny. I really wanted to have a talk show. I really thought I was going to be the spiritual talk show person.
Hint, hint.
And but so what happened is in this visioning, radio came up, and I had never done radio. I'd done television, I'd done stage, but I'd never done radio. And I was like, radio? I didn't know anything about it. But I jumped in. And then Living Your Inspired Life was born, and I learned how to interview and ask questions that are out of the box questions.
Nice.
Because I wasn't trained to interview, right?
Right.
So I didn't know what I wasn't supposed to ask. So that was really my pulpit, if you will, because and I still, to this day, that's what I want to have the conversation about. What is conscious in your business? What's conscious in your life? Where are you unconscious? Where are you empowered? Where are you not feeling so powerful? And how do you develop that from the inside out, and grow your consciousness, basically? So that's really, everything I'm doing now, that's what it is.
Now, that's really, I guess that's new age thinking, because I don't know if a lot of people feel that it's possible to really be conscious and like have an outside life.
Oh.
People like to separate that thing. They like to think that,
which doesn't work anymore.
No.
We've gone through such a huge paradigm shift in the last 10 years, especially. And the paradigm has shifted from patriarchal thinking, from right and wrong and black and white and this and that and us and them, and that doesn't work anymore. And
it never has.
It didn't.
It's really, really coming up now.
Yes, and that's, I think, what we're seeing. I was talking to somebody. There's fires here in Southern California right now that are devastating again. Yeah. And this woman was asking me, so what does that mean? And I said, well, what do you think it is? And she goes, I think it's about everybody becoming consciously awake now. And that's the truth, because the new paradigm, which we don't know, we haven't lived it yet.
We don't.
We don't know what the organizational structure is going to be, because what the organizational structure is now is disintegrating.
It is.
That's what we're watching in our country.
The old system is falling away.
It's falling away.
And people don't know what to do.
Right, which scares people, and then they dig into the old more.
Yes,
I'm not moving.
Or they decide to die.
Yes,
and they help us on the other side.
And then there's exiting, lots of exiting.
Yeah, there's a lot right now.
But those of us that were called to be here now, we are the ones, and we don't have a clue, by the way, but we're the ones that are here to develop whatever this new organization, this new paradigm and it's about coming from the divine feminine, and that does not mean that men aren't a part of this. There's just, as human beings, we have a masculine side and we have a feminine side.
Thank you. really speak that again, because a lot of times people hear the feminine and the masculine and they go to the literal sense
Right.
of man and woman.
Right.
There is a difference, but it is not this literal man and woman.
Yeah, it's not in the physical.
It's, exactly.
It's in the spiritual.
Yes.
And in the spiritual, those both are supposed to be coming together again.
Yes.
You know, there had been a disunion, and now this
Yeah.
is almost like a reunion. But the divine feminine is coming to purge, because that's what women do. You know, we purge, we clean, we organize, but it's purging all the stuff that doesn't work.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yeah.
not throwing the whole masculine out. It's just getting rid of the stuff that has kept humanity so angry and small.
Well, I even take it a step further. I think that it's coming to bridge the communion between masculine
I love that.
and the feminine.
I love that.
That's been there in the spiritual world. And so that's why I tease you and say, hey, do you think this spiritual thing can work in the world? Because before, that's been a separation. And I absolutely believe that now is the time that the separation of spirituality is no more.
Exactly.
You know, science and spirituality now, they're like husband and wife.
It's true. Quantum physics has proved
Yes!
that there is something much larger and undefinable than us.
Yes.
And the human brain just can't define it.
A lot of
can't
it
wrap our
can't.
mind
You know,
around it.
take the word God out of it. I was raised Catholic.
Oh.
And so for a long
sorry.
they were too. But for a long time I had to work on getting the image out, because the image really helped keep me separate. And this is what, for me, for those of you that are Catholic and it works for you, then keep working it, because I don't believe there's one way to get to anything.
I agree.
There's a multitude.
Yes, which is why we have so many religions and spiritual
Exactly.
philosophies in the world.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's not one size fits all.
No,
at all.
No, I mean, we don't even have one apple. There's like 18 different apples. I can't name all them damn apples.
Right. And I like to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. That's how I developed my spiritual practice. So it comes from metaphysics, but also I studied with shamans.
Okay.
And took a little bit there, and then I also learned all the world religions. You know, enough so I had a concept of how
And an appreciation.
Yes. And then philosophies, different philosophies that just popped open brain cells and neural synapses that I was like, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way. I hadn't thought it. Just grew me so much.
So now, do you work with the mind when you said that? I that was a trigger for me, because I love I'm birthing into that Dr. Joe Dispenza, realizing that our mind, we're reconditioning it. That's getting rid of this old paradigm. How do you recondition your mind?
So for me and any clients that I work with,
Yes.
We go through the heart. So I go right for the heart. Let's just get it over with. This thing, this monkey mind thing, has it gotten you anywhere? You know, are you happy because you run by this monkey mind?
Yeah.
And I had to learn a very difficult lesson. My heart was literally shattered when I went into divorce several years ago. And I've talked about where I feel like I was crawling on my belly through a shattered kaleidoscope of what I thought my life was going to be.
Wow.
And it was devastating. And so as I was doing that, I realized I didn't know who I was. I was in that something age. And I didn't love myself. And I didn't respect myself. So my healing had to be in my heart.
Yes.
And not my mind. My mind was... That's how I'd been living. That's the old paradigm we were talking about earlier, the masculine paradigm of thinking it through, and A plus B must equal C.
Yes.
And when I got to C and it wasn't there, it was X, right? I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Right.
So that's my current practice now, is I go into my heart and I soften the mind as much as possible, which means to me just letting the self-talk calmed down enough. Now for me, it doesn't ever really go away. It just kind of goes me, in the background. Unless it's waking me up at 3 a.m, and that's not nice. But the heart center is really where I operate out of. We all really operate out of, because we're all love.
Yes, we
and
are.
we're all light, and we're all that spark of divinity. Every single person, doesn't matter what religion, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what anything.
Doesn't matter anything. I mean, that's your birthright. That's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So you have clients that come to you. That, is it a particular, like some ministers or practitioners, they sometimes have like their theme, what I call that you know, like maybe they only work with people dealing in prosperity, or people that can't quiet the mind, or people that are mad at their families, victims, you know. Is there a particular theme of clients, or are you open?
Well, I'll work with anybody. I'll work with anybody. Oh God. But because of having gone through divorce, and my intention was to come out as whole and happy as I possibly could.
Yes.
And I was, of course, once I was entering into divorce, it was like all the divorced women flocked.
Of course. Energy. I mean,
I didn't know any. I mean, I knew some of these women, but I didn't. And then what I got to notice is the stories, and some of them were dragging their stories around about their ex, or spousal support, or non-child.
Yes, the whole thing.
Oh my God! And I was like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life being that embittered.
At the same time, saying, "Oh no, but I'm not."
Oh no, they don't, because they don't. They don't see it.
They don't. In the midst of, while they're telling you the story, because they tell you it's just for conversation, but it's what you're living. So yes, please.
And the more you tell the story, the more it reinforces the story.
Absolutely.
Until it does become the actual physical reality that you live in, and that's true for anything. You can
whatsoever.
tell the story about how opulent you are. That's the word. That's a word I'm working with.
I love
opulence. And that came out of, after divorce, I wanted to experience opulence. I didn't want to just experience prosperity. I wanted to know that I would always have enough. And for me, opulence was pushing my envelope of what's enough, right?
Yes.
And the other thing about opulence is that it's about richness. The richness.
Total richness.
Right. It's not about money and diamonds and pearls, but it's just about really feeling how rich your life is, right? And that's what I wanted. So going back to people that I work with, I've always been a woman's advocate, and so I find that most of my clients are female.
Yes.
And coming out of divorce, I realized I want to help women that have gone through divorce and haven't healed. And
I love that. I'm just tell you, I
meeting
think
way
that's
too
awesome.
many of those people.
Of course, because we have the old paradigm. When you look at it across the board, it didn't have at that time the tools that taught us how important our minds and the stories that we keep telling ourselves. I have taken this, and I am taking this same frame, law of attraction. I'll just put it in those parentheses, in dealing with racism.
Yep.
I have a new workshop, I Am Diversity. And, it's talking about personal responsibility. And for some people, that's a little upsetting, because experiences happen. I'm sure you found with the women that were divorced, okay, yeah, maybe he did this and he did that. But your participation in keeping the story alive and staying in the muck of it.
That was me, actually.
We just don't have tools for that. We hadn't. That wasn't taught to us. I'm saying us being
our generation.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying in the world, most people were not taught the power of their own mind. We were taught the outside.
Right. If this is happening in the outside, therefore it must be true.
Right.
As opposed to, I can change the outside.
But it must come from the inside.
Well, which is where a lot of the great teachers of the world of the last 20th the 20th century, you know, Gandhi and Martin Luther King, they were really about that.
Yes.
This is what the circumstance looks like, but we don't have to live that way. We can change it from the inside by communing with spirit.
Yes.
By owning our humility and then standing up for our personal truth.
Yes.
No, and not enforcing it on everyone to make it theirs.
No, there is no right or wrong.
I agree with you.
You know, it is a personal journey, and you know, I'm sure with the women that you have seen, there's some that you see them as they're going through the process, they don't want to let go of the story.
No. I mean,
because I want to be right. I'd rather be right.
Well, and if there's been physical violence, it's hard to let go of that as well. You know, like if somebody's been beaten, it doesn't matter if it's a woman in divorce or a black person on the street.
It does not.
If you've been beaten for no reason, no apparent
doesn't even matter
reason,
if there would be no reason. I mean, you know, but
this is the thing, and so here's the thing that we forget when we get caught up in the physical realm. We forget that part of where we are love, and we are a divine spark, and therefore we're all connected. We are all connected. So I'm loving that you're going to be doing this diversity teaching.
Yes.
I'm loving it.
Yes.
I'm curious to see where it goes.
Oh, it's you know, looking out at wonderful teachers. Susan's been a teacher in my life. Watching her journey, I knew when you were going through your divorce, and
She took me out to lunch.
we had some tequila.
We did. There was just a little tequila.
If you know me. But seeing you take this divine moment in time in your life and literally making a choice to choose to live differently. And that requires a practice that's beyond, all right, just forget it then. It's not just a forget it then. It's not if you believe in prayer. It's not just a prayer. It is an inner awareness of your own power and taking your accountability, what your participation was in it, and how you're going to participate in your life. And so, you know, it's teachers like that watching her go through it. We haven't had people in the sense on a large scale. I think on a larger scale now what's happening is that there are more people that are conscious, that are waking up going, hey, we can't get there that way.
No,
we can't get there that way.
And to me, so my mantra during divorce was, I love myself, and I love myself more than I ever have in my life. And therefore, I am more loving to others. And that was, you know, it did have to come around to my ex-husband.
Of course. He was the gift.
Yes, actually he was, because it shattered my heart. And then I got to choose who I am.
Yes.
I got to pick up pieces I wanted, not pieces that people had stuck in to make me, you know, we all got that. Somebody telling us what to do and putting us in a box. It was a gift. And it shocked me just recently when I woke up one morning. I ran a list of gratitude and what I love. I love my life. I love my son. I love my spouse. Well, it hit me that I love my ex-husband, and I never thought I would say that. But that it is the inner love, and just being, and it's challenging. It's our human condition is to get caught up in the bright and shiny stuff outside.
Yes.
And the spiritual path is about connecting as often as possible, sometimes hourly by hour.
If you have to,
to that grace and that love that you are. And I don't mean this in any kind of religious way, but you were asking me earlier about being spiritual in the world, right? How do you do that? We are witnessing so many mystics that instead of going, like St. Francis of Assisi sat in a cave. I sat in his cave. It was incredible.
Really?
Oh my God.
Wow.
It was incredible.
Wow.
But he sat in a cave and he communed with God and wrote some great stuff and talked to the animals and, you know, and then would go and help the poor. But he was in a cave,
Yes.
you know, and a lot of mystics, it used to be that you had to get away from the world to find yourself. Now we have mystics that are finding themselves while in the world.
Yes.
Which I guess goes to that thing that Jesus the Master said, be in the world but not of the world, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
That's pretty close. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's, I look at it as the evolution of consciousness
yeah.
that had to take place so that now we are now the mystics.
Yes, exactly.
We are the, you out there, the consciousness that you hold that inspires you to want to do it differently. You have taken a path as a minister, as they used to say, as a woman of God, to create in this world. You have a podcast.
Yes.
You have a meditation app.
Yes, on Insight Timer.
Yes.
I have followers around the world.
I know, it's
fun.
so cool.
I had somebody from Australia reach out to me. I'm like, well, we could Zoom. And she's like, well, I'm on a different time frame. We're still figuring that out.
Right.
But I'm also going to be a contributor in 2019 for a woman's digital magazine called Cybele, Sybl. It's Sabella Publications, and it's for women of spirit and soul.
Isn't that fabulous?
I'm so excited.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so it's these steps because you're in life doing it. You're doing it. And everybody will do it differently. But this is something now that, you're not off on a mountain somewhere.
No. I mean, I do go to mountains sometimes.
Well, that's the yeah, Johnny Coleman. Did you ever meet Johnny Coleman?
No.
Johnny Coleman was an amazing teacher in Chicago, and she was a Bible preaching metaphysics queen, mama. And I remember her one time saying, going on the mountain and sitting in Omen is great, but I want the person that can be down here when all hell breaks loose and know how to keep the center. And that's what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
You are, because
Thank you.
divorce is, it's a painful experience for a lot of people, the female and the male.
Yes.
For everybody, for the kids, the dogs. I mean,
It is.
It's for everyone. So to be able to create this space for people to find themselves, to forgive and let go, and move to a space of love, because love is all we are.
Yes.
Yes. It's who we are, what we are. And in that, I heard spouse. So somebody's gotten remarried.
Okay, well, not remarried, but
Ah.
committed. We committed. We're committed. Oh my God. A little crazy. Well, so because of the work that I was doing during the divorce, and I was cleaning out pockets of shame that would show up. I would all sorts of stuff. And guilt, ashamed that I was in that marriage for so long, and why, and so as I was cleaning all this out and becoming stronger within myself, I started to make a kind of a list of the next relationship, because I had a second half of life to live,
right.
and I do much better in relationship. I'm not
You're
really
a cutie
alone.
pie.
So I had this list going, starting with very kind and full head of hair, down
the diva,
down to singing, and and having his money handled. That was important to me, because I didn't mention money in the first husband. So this one, anyway. So the day after I got my final divorce paper in the mail, the next day I was at church. And the funny thing is people kept saying, "Oh, you'll meet somebody at church." I'm like, I was serving at a church that was mostly lesbian.
Nothing wrong with that, but
nothing wrong. No, but not where I was going to find my next guy.
Yeah.
And so it was the Sunday after, and I was standing around in the back waiting to do prayer with whomever, and this man comes behind me and puts his hands on my shoulders, and I'm like, "What is who?" And I turned around, and it was Kevin, and
my goodness.
and it caught both of us completely by surprise. Neither one of us we both were coming out of 28-year marriages.
Wow.
And his wife had passed away.
Okay.
So it was we were looking for our next love, but we had no idea it was going to happen like that. And it happened like that. But part of it is because I had done that work.
Not part of it. I think the big... You know, being able to invite that love in.
Yes. Well, and I had to love myself first.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that he recognized as well. And when we got together, you know, he said, I'm not ever going to make you happy. I said, no, I make me happy.
Love that.
And you make you happy, and together we'll be happy.
Exactly. We can share this thing, but that's not your job.
No.
That's not your job. See, that's consciousness. Because, you know, I had to own up to where I was consciously what I had looked for in a relationship and what he had to do. And when you start taking ownership of your life and who you are, because I didn't think I was... I mean,
so
hey.
I think that is the chronic dis-ease, I'll say it that way, that most women, but think about it, Gino, it's that way because for centuries, women were considered chattel and property.
Yes.
And women that did attain power,
those hussies.
Oh my God! And actually, I was in Scotland, and we were at a sacred site, and the woman that was leading the group, there was a big cliff, and she said, "This is the site where women were thrown off the cliff.
Oh my goodness!
If they flew, they were a witch."
Well, we didn't have too many of those.
And it was done so that the men could get their property. You know, that women of substance, of property and money and intelligence were often, you know, done away with or shunned or persecuted because they were out of the box of the masculine idea.
Exactly.
At the time, this is what we're seeing falling apart right now. This is
all
why
of
the
that.
Me Too movement. This is why all of it.
All of it. You know, I mean, and I believe all of it had to happen in order for us to be here.
Yeah.
Because we're ready. Consciousness is ready. So, you and your practice you used to do radio. You have the podcast. Chats with Susan Burrell. And you can download the podcast.
Yes. If you go to SusanBurrell.com, you can get everything. You can get.
We're going to have links below. You can
get the Insight Timer, you can get the podcast, and you can see my blogs.
Beautiful.
And then eventually what we're going to do is also have the magazine articles on the website that you can access. Or go to the magazine. Yeah, so...
And for clients, for sessions, because I see that you're getting shadows.
Well,
so you're looking like a little flag there.
The sun has moved. The sun is going.
Yeah. Are you open? Are you taking on new clients?
Yes. So on the site, you can contact me.
Okay.
So
beautiful.
You can click on, I forget what button now, but you can contact me through there. You can contact me through Insight Timer if you're involved in Insight Timer.
I love that beautiful meditation that you can download. I downloaded it. It's on my phone now. Yay! And I'm a follower now.
Yeah.
Yay!
Thank you.
Love that. Because meditation is, I think, one of the most important keys.
Yeah. And I do guided meditations that, I do guided meditations that I developed for myself to heal.
Okay.
So there... I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I've infused them. I don't know how I do it. I infuse them with healing energy so that people really get more when they're listening than just hearing words.
How beautiful!
You know?
How beautiful!
Yeah, and it's a gift that I was given that. I just, when I came out of divorce, I went, oh my God, look, I forgot. You know, when you're little and the parent goes, don't do that. You can't be like that. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
You know, and now I got this other gift that I'm like, oh, this is so much fun to be able to help people that way.
I love that. And so you're sharing that with people as well.
Yeah.
So I want to know, how do you feel that you're creating community in the world?
Oh, that's a good question. because I went through a couple of years not feeling connected in community, few years, and which was really kind of hard for me.
I bet.
And my intention in doing all this is, like I said, I was talking earlier about circles of women.
Yes.
Is to create circles of women that then become those interlocking circles, right? That just kind of keep expanding out,
Yes.
and so that women on each of these circles can then support other women. You know, that it's not me doing it with them
Exactly.
or for them, but we're all connected in that way. So
It's very powerful.
yeah, it's very
It's
powerful.
very powerful.
So I'm not exactly sure, because the universe is guiding me.
Okay.
So I don't know what the universe has in store. I don't know what spirit is and how it's going to unfold. But that's my intention, is to create these circles of women that support each other, that create more circles until we're all connected that way.
I think that's a powerful, powerful intention.
Yeah.
And you've already, you've been paving that path already. So this is just pieces falling into place.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm going to have to burn up again like Phoenix and come back out and start over.
And it will be spectacular.
Thank you,
It'll be
sweetie.
spectacular. I want to thank you, Susan, for joining us. We have to sing our song out.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute, you started.
Okay. Got no diamonds, got no pearls. Still I think I'm a lucky girl. I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night.
I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. I want to thank you all for joining me on Pass the Mic. And remember that we are here. We are one. We hold a vision. We are creating our here and now. Just you and me. Just you and me. Susan's, all of her information will be below. Go check it out, because that's what it's about. Exploring your possibility and how you can create a new paradigm for your life.
Oh, I love it.
I
love it.
I'll see you. Hey, you know what? Please leave a comment below. I love you that you send me the emails, but put the comments on YouTube. Put them below. All right, my friends. Once again, thanks for joining me on Pass the Mic, and I'll see you next week. Thank you, Suzanne.